Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin shortly. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, guardians, and civilians of the United States Strategic Command, we are honored to welcome you to this momentous occasion, the United States Strategic Command Change of Command Ceremony. As the ceremony is being recorded, please remove all access badges. Although the ceremony participants in uniform are wearing headgear and will salute, those military in the audience will not wear headgear and will not salute. It is customary when honors are rendered and during the playing of the national anthem for military members to stand at attention while our civilian guests stand and put their right hand over their heart. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has elected to defer honors to General Cotton in honor of his decades of service. The music this morning is provided by United States Air Force Heartland of America Band with Navy Band Great Lakes under the direction of Tech Sergeant Edward Zaricki. We are honored to have with us today the Honorable Jim Pillen, Governor of Nebraska, and the First Lady of Nebraska, Suzanne Pillen. The Honorable Mike Flood, Representative of Nebraska from the 1st District. The Honorable Ronald Moultrie, former Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. General John Hyten, 11th Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The Commander of NORAD and U.S. NORTHCOM, General Gregory Guillot. Senior Enlisted Advisor, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, David Isom. Lieutenant General Scott Playas, the Acting Vice Chief of the Air Force. General S.L. Davis, Commander, Strategic Command Air Component, Air Force Global Strike Command. Mr. Drew Walter, performing the duties of Assistant Deputy Secretary of War for Nuclear Deterrence, Chemical, Biological Defense Policy, and Programs. Lieutenant General Mike Lutton, Deputy Commander, United States Strategic Command. Lieutenant General Sean Gainey, Commander of STRATCOM Army Component, Space and Missile Defense Command. Lieutenant General Thomas Hensley, Commander of STRATCOM Cyber Component, 16th Air Force. Vice Admiral John Gumbleton, Acting Commander of STRATCOM Naval Component, Fleet Forces Command. We also have with us today a number of Nebraska state senators and several local mayors. Also a number of current and former national defense leaders, active and retired senior officers, active and retired senior non-commissioned officers, and other distinguished guests. We would also like to welcome our community leaders who have joined us to witness today's events. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of honors to the Commander of United States Strategic Command, the National Anthem, and the invocation. Honor Guard, present the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
If you wouldn't mind bowing your head. Dear God, this morning, I ask that you cause all time and space continuum to pause as the guide on us passed between General Anthony Cotton to Admiral Richard Carell for the United States Strategic Change of Command. This rite of passage from that which was to that which will be, the transition of these global military leaders, is hefty enough to ask for such a bold request. Lord, you know the heart of our commander, and even as General Cotton takes leave of U.S. STRATCOM through this time-honored ritual, it's not easy to say goodbye. He's a warfighter general and made the impossible possible. General Cotton was always on command ready for our nation, leaders, and citizens. Assure him that through it all, you were his ally. As Admiral Carell assumes command of U.S. STRATCOM with its mission that reaches around the world, please continue to give him wisdom of these responsibilities born for such a time as this. And since it can be ever so daunting to have authority over the nuclear triad for our nation, remind him that through all this, you will be his ally. I ask now that your presence abide with us through another passing of the baton, this celebration of command relinquished and command assumed, and I pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Michaela, Heartland of America Band, Navy Band Great Lakes, and Chaplain Holmquist. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane.
I'm gonna take this off for a minute, just so I can look up. Man, what is cool about this building is all these incredible service members and civilians up here. I will tell you that I'm having a little flashback to when I was in college in Virginia at a place called VMI, where I would watch a lot of upperclassmen look down on me. So my inner child's feeling it right now. First, Governor, First Lady, leaders, Secretary General, I will tell you, Governor, that I used to work for an awesome prior governor, a guy named Mike Johans, when he was the Secretary of Agriculture, and he remains to this day one of my all-time favorite people, along with a whole bunch of other Nebraskans. So it's an honor for me to be here, and thank you all for joining us. This state and this community is so well known for the love that you pour into U.S. Strategic Command and all of the service members and civilians who are blessed to come through this headquarters. So thank you very much. A round of applause for Nebraska. Tony, Marcia, Richard, Samantha, distinguished guests, good morning. I'm deeply, deeply humbled to be here today as we celebrate General Cotton's graduation and Admiral Carell's not-so graduation. By the way, Rich, that 4-star looks as good on you, brother, as you think it does. There's really no place, like I said, I'd rather be than here today. I know there's some other people who wish they could be here today, too, and so I bring thanks and congratulations to you both from the President and from the Secretary of War, both of whom I saw the President last night, and I saw the Secretary 3 times today already on video. So you're near and dear to their heart. But before I talk about Tony and Marcia and Richard and Samantha, I want to take a moment to just remember, and it goes to the core of what makes this command what it is. It was 84 years this Sunday that we lost 2,403 Americans in a deadly attack in Pearl Harbor. It was that clear December morning, not as cold and crisp as here in Omaha, but that the nation learned the importance, frankly, the charge that you all keep in the work that you do here. Pearl Harbor taught us that we always have to be ready, that we can never get complacent, that we always must be thinking about, and then what? The question of, and then what? And certainly there are members of your family, Tony, that served in that great conflict. Your father learned the importance and value of service as he's fought his way across the Pacific. And your dad certainly learned the importance of service, Rich, as he served for 23 years as a yeoman. But it's that lesson in the importance of always being ready that forms the foundation of U.S. STRATCOM and the work that everyone up here on these floors and out in the missile fields and undersea right now or sitting alert, the service that they do to stand the watch, to deter others 24/7, 365. And we must always remember that you don't wait to do your mission. As former Vice Chairman Heighton once told me, we do our mission, and a STRATCOM alum, you do your mission every single day, 24/7, 365. So today we remember our fallen from Pearl Harbor, but we also remember, and with a heart of gratitude and thanks, all of you awesome humans up there on the second and third deck, I'll speak Navy, who are continuing to stand the watch out there and to keep our nation safe, not just on a pretty bad day that might happen in the future, but every single day that U.S. STRATCOM does your job. So a round of applause for all the men and women of STRATCOM. Thank you for what you do. Of course, the rest of our distinguished guests, thank you for traveling. It's great to see General Guillot, somebody who I know so well, all the other senior leaders. The 6th ever senior enlisted advisor to the chairman, the SEAC, who represents 1.8 million members of the enlisted joint force, far and away. The thing that gives the United States our exclusivity is not the O's, it's the E's that serve within our joint force. So thank you for representing all of them, SEAC. Most importantly, the 2 amazing families who are here today. General Cotton and his wife Marcia, and Admiral Carell and his family, his wife Samantha, his children Michaela, Sydney, daughter-in-law Kaylin, and a shout out to your son Ryan, who's not here, but's hopefully watching. I also want to recognize Command Sergeant Major Joanne Nauman, somebody I've known for a long time, and it's awesome to see, Rich, her joining you as your swim buddy. And she will out PT you, my brother. I tell you that right now. Also, I want to recognize her husband, TJ, who himself served for many, many years. And recognize Sergeant Major Kramer, who's crushed it in this last job. So a round of applause for Sergeant Major Kramer. He also graduates soon with 34 years of service. But together, Tony, you and he led this command during some incredibly important and decisive times. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think about you is that smile you're trying not to crack right now. But I have never not seen you smiling because you love what you do. You love service, but more importantly, you guys as a family love people. And that comes through so incredibly clear through every stop of your career, whether in Maelstrom or as a young leader and officer. You've only had one switch setting: loving your airmen, loving this country, and serving in such a beautiful, special way. Not just you, but both of you, pouring everything that you have first into the Air Force and then into the Joint Force. And all of us, this whole atrium full of people, so clearly see that over and over and over again. If you were a young airman out there in Thanksgiving, when you were in command of a numbered Air Force and didn't have a place to go, the Cottons were going to come roll you up and drag you to their house for Thanksgiving. Or if you did not know what to do as a young airman, you were going to find a bounce house in the front of the Cotton's yard so your kids could jump in there and do things, or barbecue for your team. It's the little things, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the quiet check-ins over and over and over again, the motivating your teams to reach places that they could not even dream of as individuals and as teams, that has made you, my friend, the leader that we all love and adore so dearly. And at the same time, in every command, you've gotten after it. You've moved the organization forward. In a world where strategic competition right now is only accelerating, it's the humble, steadfast, dedicated leadership with a smile, and those two things are not always linked with each other, that is the way that you've led. You've led with your heart. You've shown up every day while the security environment is really changing fast. And the importance of U.S. Strategic Command can't be understated right now. As we look around the world, whether it's adversaries gaining additional nuclear capability or hypersonics or the electromagnetic spectrum, you and your leadership team have gotten us as far as we've gotten. It's your leadership that we've done a full assessment of how are we really doing in the nuclear enterprise and what do we need to do differently as Admiral Carell steps into the breach now. And you've done a lot as a leadership team and as a commander over these last few years. 80 bomber task force missions, historic B-52 deployments, SSBNs deployed around the world, never losing the watch out in the missile fields of America. You've outpaced the enemy. You've helped establish Golden Dome, strengthened nuclear command and control. And when the president needed a bespoke surgical option, he turned to U.S. Strategic Command and the B-2 mission force, and they executed flawlessly. What your force did, along with others, on June 22nd took decades of study, planning, testing, commitment, patience, grit, innovation. I could go on and on and on. It required unprecedented coordination across combatant commands with intelligence community teammates and the interagency, and it demonstrated in a conventional way what the nuclear and strategic enterprise in this command really can go do when the nation calls on each and every one of you. Tony, you, and I know you don't like me saying that because you're not that kind of guy, but you led that charge, accomplishing the mission along with your family. And you made us safer along the way. For 39 years, you've kept our deterrent safe, reliable, and ready. And you've had a Hall of Fame career. So a round of applause for Tony. But man, anybody that talks to you knows that there's really one Hall of Famer in your family, and she's sitting right there, Marcia. Marcia, on behalf of the Joint Force, 2.8 million members strong and growing, thank you. Thank you for what you've done to be a steady guiding hand with your husband for the last 33 years. When he's at work and I check in with him on a VTC, he talks a lot about you and your family and how much he's excited to graduate and stay here in Omaha and spend a lot more time with you. You may not be ready for that, but he's ready for that. It was during those early missile days when he surfaced out of the ground for short stretches that he somehow convinced Minot State star basketball player to give him a shot. You've always been by his side. You've always been teaching. You have poured so much love and care into this joint force and raised along the way two incredible kids. We struggle to find the words, and I know at another ceremony you'll get a lot more recognition. But on behalf of the joint force, the President, the Secretary of War, and all of us who are in the House of Pain known as the Pentagon, thank you for all that you've done. And please join me in a huge round of applause for Marcia. We will always struggle to find the words. But I also want to recognize your kids, Russ and Bree, who are watching online. You carry your parents' traditions forward and their commitment to service. And Russ, thanks for your time in the Air Force and as an analyst. And Bree, I know you're crushing it nearby as a lawyer here in Omaha. And I know, because I was a dependent kid, that it ain't an easy life. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And let's give a round of applause to their kids. So I know I just want to also recognize your parents, Tony, your father, James, who I said earlier fought his way across the Pacific in World War II and later became a Chief Master Sergeant, and your mom, Amy, both of which I know, my friend, are over the moon proud. So on behalf of us to both of you and your families, thank you. And again, let's give them a round of applause. So now we honor Admiral, that sounds good, Admiral Rich Correll and his family here to U.S. Strategic Command. The good news is you know where to park, you know where to go. Most folks have to figure all that schnizzle out, but you don't have to. But Rich, like many other legendary leaders who've come before you, man, you are made for this role. And having served with you for so many years in so many places that we are not at liberty to talk about, I can't think of a better leader to follow another incredible leader. You've been shaped, man, beneath the surface, quietly doing America's work. You've spent more than 6 years of your life underwater. That is a shit ton of time underwater. Learning what only submariners can learn. Every job on the boat, the importance of a crew, the importance of leading a crew, and the importance of always being up on comms and never failing to remember that if the nation calls, you got to be ready. You bring the same clarity of leadership that I've seen you bring to the jobs that we've had before. And having watched you be the deputy commander out here, I can't think of a better leader. You give honest feedback when we need it. You tell truth to power, not when they want to hear it, but when they need to hear it. When the pressure rises, your blood pressure remains at 30 PSI. I've never seen it above it, but through it all, you have not done this alone either. And I'm incredibly happy to welcome your wife, Samantha, into the Joint Force again and to say thank you and to your family for again answering the call to serve. It is not easy being a member of our military family, but while your husband was out deployed around the world, you've carried the load. Those 6 years that he was underwater, always with unbelievably great comms on the unclassified side. So I know he's completely available for you 24/7, 365. And I know that the washing machine and the house never broke down while he was undersea. The good news is now he's here in beautiful Nebraska where he'll be able to help out. Thanks for giving more to the Navy than I have time to talk about. And thanks now for giving more to the Joint Force, not just the Navy, but our other services. So a round of applause for both Rich and his wife, Samantha. To your kids, who I think I met some of them earlier, Michaela, Ryan, Sydney, thanks for your service and your sacrifice in helping your folks to get here. Rich, I know your dad is another career submariner, is incredibly proud of you. I know your mom is here too. Ma'am, we met earlier. It was awesome to meet you, and thank you so much. And your sister Linda and her husband John, who I got to meet earlier as well. Heads up, this is a busy job, so help them out. So a round of applause for the family. All right. So to the STRATCOM teammates, whether you're in this awesome building, you're out undersea, you're sitting alert at one of these bases or in the missile fields, thank you. Thank you for continuing to stand the watch for our freedom. Every day, as I said earlier, you do what your nation needs you to do. It doesn't matter what's going on at home, unfortunately, and that's hard. It doesn't matter what's in the news. You're quiet professionals, ready whenever the nation calls. Your charge is constant readiness, eyes open, and being on the account 24/7, 365. Tony, you advanced the charge, you advanced the clarity, you advanced our purpose, and you've made this command better. And when our nation needs her, she'll be ready. I've got absolute confidence as you step into the breach to take over, Admiral. You guys will do great in this next chapter. So Tony and Marcia, on behalf of the President and the Secretary and the rest of the Joint Force, thank you. Rich and Samantha, the President, the Secretary, and the Joint Force wish you well. We're here to help you in this most incredible job that you have. I want to also mention I close all my speeches in two ways when I have the chance to spend time with people. I always remind us to never forget those teammates that are deployed right now, to include those STRATCOM teammates out there doing our nation's work. Let's remember them and their families, especially this time of year as they're out there getting after it. And lastly, let's never forget our fallen, those teammates who've made the ultimate sacrifice through the journey of service that they've been on, and their families who show us what real grit, tenacity, and determination looks like. Teammates, congratulations. Are you ready to do this? Are you sure, Tony? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Kane. General Cotton, will you please join the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff at center stage? Ladies and gentlemen, please stand while the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff presents the Defense Distinguished Service Medal to General Anthony J. Cotton. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Defense Distinguished Service Medal. General Anthony J. Cotton, United States Air Force, distinguished himself by exceptionally meritorious service and a duty of great responsibility as Commander, United States Strategic Command, Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, from December 2022 to December 2025. During his tenure, General Cotton's exceptional leadership of 140,000 personnel ensured national security by modernizing the command responsible for strategic deterrence, nuclear operations, command control and communications, joint electromagnetic spectrum operations, and global strike. General Cotton's guidance ensured the command swiftly adapted to intensifying strategic competition and oversaw the generational modernization of the nuclear triad. Additionally, he revolutionized electromagnetic spectrum operations by spearheading the development of the Joint Electromagnetic Spectrum Operations Center, enhancing joint force readiness and dominance in contested environments. Finally, recognizing nuclear command, control, and communications as the triad's foundation, he prioritized its modernization by developing a comprehensive, phased roadmap with clear near and long-term goals and a groundbreaking concept of employment that enhanced mission assurance. The distinctive accomplishments of General Cotton culminated a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself, the United States Air Force, and the Department of War. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing while General Kane presents the Joint Meritorious Unit Award to United States Strategic Command. The United States Strategic Command and its three component commands distinguished themselves by exceptionally meritorious service from 1 June 2022 to 1 July 2025. During this period, the United States Strategic Command distinguished itself through its unwavering commitment to safeguarding national security and maintaining credible nuclear deterrence in a period defined by escalating global tensions and unprecedented strategic challenges. Faced with the complex task of deterring China and Russia and confronting destabilizing actions by North Korea, the command expertly delivered credible nuclear capabilities and reinforced strategic deterrence through robust extended deterrence commitments. During Global Thunder 25, the command established historic partnerships with United Kingdom planners, strengthening transatlantic nuclear cooperation and streamlining nuclear decision-making. Moreover, the command enabled decisive action in ongoing conflicts, delivering 450 critical targeting products to U.S. Central Command. Additionally, the command executed 80 Bomber Task Force missions with 35 allied nations, culminating in a historic B-52 deployment to the Korean Peninsula. Finally, the command established 2 regionally resolute nuclear logistics teams, providing timely intelligence that directly supported operations and the response to the 2023 Hamas-led attack on Israel. Through their exemplary performance of duty, the members of U.S. Strategic Command have brought great credit upon themselves and the Department of War. Thank you, General Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now unveil General Cotton's portrait. This portrait will be added to the wall of former commanders on the 3rd floor. Now I present to you Commander, United States Strategic Command, General Anthony J. Cotton.
Wow, look at all these people that showed up like something's getting ready to happen today. Governor Pillen, First Lady, Congressman Flood, Chairman, and for those who were kind of like scratching their head for the ruffles and flourishes, I just want you guys to know that the chairman deferred the ruffles and flourishes to me since I'm retiring today. So, sir, thank you so much for doing that. I'll always remember that, so thank you so much. The rest of the team that's here, component commanders that are here, actually not for me, but for the component commanders conference that they'll have with the new guy afterwards. And other distinguished guests, family, friends, and members of STRATCOM, thank you for joining us today. 3 years ago, I was told Marcia and I would fall in love with Omaha and its surrounding communities. Big city amenities, small town hospitality and generosity. Governor Pillen himself told me that, Tony, it's all about the people. Absolutely spot on. Governor, congressmen, mayors, state senators, thank you for all the support that you lend each and every day to the men and women that are not necessarily on ground level, but to the chairman's point, the ones that are on deck 2 and deck 3 every single day. I stand here humbled by the audience of seeing so many great leaders, the gratitude to the members of STRATCOM, and a bit of sadness as I prepare to relinquish command. Sergeant Major Kramer, thank you for your tireless support over the last 4.5 years, 3 years as my battle buddy. You've been a great teammate and an incredible advisor for me. Marcia and I look forward to the retired antics in store with you and Melanie, because they're staying here too. Admiral Correll, Rich, I couldn't have asked for a better deputy commander. Holy cow, you did so well that you're replacing me. But more about you later. Major General John Widener, he's back from the Korean Peninsula after being here as a 1-star. You hit the ground running as our Chief of Staff, and I truly appreciate that. Thank you and Matt for managing the headquarters day to day. And speaking of which, Chairman, we all know that the staff is what enables flawless execution of senior leaders' daily lives. I would like to acknowledge some of the superstars that held it together for me. My exec, Brigadier General Scott Macho Wildmuller, Navy Captain Select Jason Manhole Coates, who's at school, Colonel Select Vanessa Wilcox, who will continue to be the senior exec for Admiral Correll, my aide, Lieutenant Colonel Tracy Desi Davis, who's heading off to be an ops officer here on Monday. She can't wait. Miss Denise Murray, who is our travel planner, and Miss Valerie Meyer, my executive assistant. Thanks again for being that glue. And to the, how about a round of applause for those guys, because they make it work for us. And actually in an operational headquarters like this one, to the change of command team, we're not configured like this every day. And that was led by Colonel Nellie Torado and Protocol Chief Maxine Carr. Thanks so much for everything that you guys have done to make this a flawless event today. But as great as a team here at STRATCOM, I am fortunate to have the support of my family, Russ, Bree, and of course, all that's led by my lovely wife, Marcia. Thank you for the support and looking forward to the next phase. You know, my time at STRATCOM here has been the most professionally rewarding experience of my career, but due in large part to the dedication, expertise, and unwavering commitment of the men and women who serve here, whether within the confines of this headquarters, but more so those that are serving in the components. When I stood here 3 years ago and took the guide on from Admiral Chaz Richard, I made a pledge to never take for granted the sacred trust of the American people and do everything in my power to ensure that STRATCOM was always ready, no matter what challenges it may face. Today, as I reflect upon our accomplishments, I can confidently say that I think we honored that pledge. I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to each of you, the operators on alert, those standing watch, those flying sorties, the planners that are anticipating future threats, the analysts poring over the data, and the maintainers that are keeping those systems ready at a moment's notice. Your sacrifices, often unseen and unheralded, that's what keeps America safe. You are the reason that I and each commander before me can pass the torch having prevented conflict between great powers. You are what makes deterrence credible. You know, I often describe the geopolitical environment as one with two nuclear peers and a host of third-party influencers. But this is not Cold War 2.0. Unfortunately, it's much more complex. Land, sea, air, space, cyber, and within the electromagnetic spectrum. We as a joint force must be prepared for conflict or attack. China continues to develop its nuclear capabilities, modernize its nuclear forces, and increase its assertiveness in the Indo-Pacific region. Russia is expanding its diverse nuclear arsenal while pursuing non-treaty accountable weapon systems. And third-party influencers continue their destabilizing activities. Just consider the strategic landscape in the last 3 years. Russia's war in Ukraine, Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel, Iran's attempt to enrich weapons-grade nuclear material, and China with its most aggressive behavior in the Indo-Pacific region. But strategic deterrence held. This command continues to answer the nation's call in that regard. 3 years ago, we developed a three-phase approach to our vision and our strategy. The first year, roadmap our nuclear command, control, and communication strategy, and baseline our triad sufficiency against nuclear peers. In year two, we took decisive action in codifying what we found in year one. And in year three, I made a team accelerate all of that. You truly raised the bar and set a new standard of excellence here at STRATCOM. You revalidated the requirements for Sentinel, advocated steady builds for Columbia, the B-21, slick them in, ensuring the ability to hold adversaries at risk for decades to come. You successfully executed Operation Grand Prix, the first SSBN port visit to the Republic of Korea in 42 years to demonstrate extended deterrence. You executed bomber task force missions across the globe that supported multiple combatant commands, demonstrating to the world our global reach. You made significant strides in modernizing strategic infrastructure, advocating for nearly $10 billion in military construction projects and facility upgrades, and the support of personnel readiness of the nuclear force. You increased medical support to the department's personnel reliability program from DHA down to medical treatment facilities across the Joint Force. You also reviewed Joint Force and department guidance to align authorities, responsibilities, and accountability, and conducted exercises to prepare for threats in biodefense to ensure STRATCOM has the right future medical capabilities to operate in such an environment. And it was you who implemented the People and Talent 2027 strategy, streamlining hiring through the ACT Demo personnel system and in improving human capital processes. You advanced find, fix, and track capabilities through developing new tools and integrating novel collection capabilities with our Intel partners. You drove improvement in cybersecurity for our existing NC3 systems. You stood up the Joint Electromagnetic Spectrum Operations Enterprise Center and advocated to Congress for protection of spectrum bandwidth, preserving equities across the department. And it was you who elevated nuclear IQ, not just within the Joint Force, but across the whole of government. But most importantly, above all else, you deterred strategic attack and preserved the peace. These accomplishments are the testament to your hard work, your ingenuity, your unwavering dedication to the mission. Looking ahead, there is no one, no team better prepared to further this command. I know firsthand, Admiral, and you're right, it does have a nice twang to it, Rich Carell's strategic acumen, his knowledge of deterrent strategy, understanding emerging technologies, and appreciation of future capabilities is going to pay dividends for STRATCOM and the Joint Force. Along with Lieutenant General Mike Lutton and Sergeant Major Nauman, I know we will be seeing some eye-watering successes right here in Bellevue. Rich, Marcia, and I wish you, Samantha, and the team all the best. To the men and women of STRATCOM, thank you for your service, your sacrifice, and your unwavering commitment to our nation. It has been an incredible honor to serve as your commander. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, General Cotton. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command. Delivering the United States Strategic Command flag to General Cotton is the outgoing Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Sergeant Major Howard Kramer. Retrieving the flag from Admiral Carell will be the incoming Command Senior Enlisted Leader, Command Sergeant Major Joanne Nauman. Attention to orders. By direction of the President, General Anthony J. Cotton will relinquish command of United States Strategic Command effective 5 December 2025. Admiral Richard A. Carell is directed to assume command of United States Strategic Command effective 5 December 2025. Thank you, General Kane and General Cotton. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please welcome for the first time, Commander, United States Strategic Command, Admiral Richard A. Carell.
Governor Pillen, First Lady Suzanne, Congressman Flood, Chairman Raisin Kane, SEAC Isom, Honorable Moultrie, Joe Hyten, Jill Guillot, Assistant Secretary Walter, Mayor Lambert, Mayor Winquist, State Senators Roundtree, Holdcraft, Sanders, and Anderson, distinguished guests, family, friends, and members of United States Strategic Command, thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to tell a little sea story and depart from my script. So as I was preparing for confirmation testimony, and it gives you a window into the chairman and the class act that he is, he happened to be on the Hill, and I was making a number of office calls before the testimony, and he sought me out, and he gave me one sentence of advice. I won't share it with you. I'll keep it between us, but it was great strategic advice, sort of calmed the waters going into that. And so as I reflected on my remarks today, I kind of went, and to be clear, Chairman Kane didn't say this to me. I channeled him. You know, what guidance would he give me for my remarks today? And I think that would be, number one, don't be boring. Number two, keep any sea stories at the motion picture PG-13 level. And number three, don't speak over 12 minutes. So I'll begin today by expressing how deeply grateful, and I'm sure he'll let me know later whether I hit the mark with that guidance, how deeply grateful I am to the President, Secretary Hegseth, and Chairman Kane for their trust and confidence in me for this assignment. I also extend my sincere thanks to the Senate, in particular Senator Fisher, for their confirmation. I would also like to express my gratitude to the local community in the state of Nebraska for their unwavering support, hospitality toward our service members, and myself and Samantha included. We feel love, and we are so thrilled to be here for another 3 years. Chairman Kane, we, the Joint Force, are incredibly fortunate to have you serving our nation in such a critical position. I want to thank you for your leadership, your strategic vision, your grace, and your sense of camaraderie. And I have to tell you, it is infectious. As I reflected on my remarks today, I began reminiscing about my personal history at STRATCOM. Although I'm a career submarine officer, I've spent more than 50% of my time as a flag officer here at Offutt Air Force Base. And then I thought, this is about as far away from either ocean within the continental United States you can get. So maybe the Navy's trying to tell me something. In all honesty, having spent a significant amount of time here, I can confidently say this is just an incredible place to work, thrive, and raise a family. Samantha and I truly look forward to another tour in the great state of Nebraska. I can't go any further without acknowledging the remarkable lineage of leadership of this command. 24 commanders precede me, dating back to 1946. I've been fortunate to serve under 3 of those commanders. General Hyten, you honor us with your presence here today. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your mentorship. Admiral Richard, and of course, General Tony Cotton. And you can't imagine how much I relish saying Tony. It's been an honor to serve as your deputy throughout your command tour here at STRATCOM in direct support of your vision and intent. Thank you for your mentorship, your personal investment of time and energy in my professional development, and your invaluable counsel. Now, thinking about how to capture my appreciation for someone with a tremendous career like General Cotton got me thinking about the great Alabama football coach, Nick Saban. Now, I know you're a North Carolina State fan, Tony, but Alabama, North Carolina, to us Midwesterners, it's all the South. So, the great Nick Saban had announced that he was going to retire as the Alabama football coach. And I saw an ESPN interview where they asked Coach Saban what it felt like to be a legend. And Coach Saban kind of brushed that aside and said, I don't really care about being a legend. What I care about, what matters to me, is legacy. the legacy of all the student athletes that played for them, the skills they developed, the careers they went on to have, and the success they enjoyed. That's what I think of when I think of your incredible impact on STRATCOM, your legacy. Our nation, the Joint Force, the Air Force, and U.S. Strategic Command are stronger because of your leadership, vision, and the relationships you've built throughout your tremendous career. I hope to build on that legacy. Samantha and I wish you and Marsha all the best in your next adventure. As you plan your cruise itinerary, and I know you already have 2 booked, my only ask is that you remain within cell phone range. Now, if necessary, I've already started a conversation with our executive communications team on how to have a mobile comms package deployed to your cruise ship stateroom. I will have you on speed dial. And please, round of applause for Joe Cotton and Marsha. Speaking of folks on speed dial, I've been truly fortunate to have an incredibly supportive family throughout my career. All of us who serve can only do so with the support of our loved ones. Joining me today is my wife, Samantha, my best friend and life partner for over 34 years. She's an incredible source of strength and inspiration for me and our family. She's also a remarkable advocate for our military men and women and their families. Also today, I'd like to give a shout out to our children. Michaela, awesome job on the national anthem. That was incredible. Ryan, Michaela's partner, Sarah, Ryan's wife, Kaylin, and our daughter, Sydney. I'm so proud of each of you. Also in attendance is my mother, Pat, hardest working and most generous human being I've ever met. And here today in spirit is my father, who served our country, as the chairman mentioned, as a submarine yeoman, retiring as a chief petty officer after 23 years of service. And I had the privilege of scattering his ashes at sea on board of one of our Virginia-class submarines a few years back per his wishes, and that was pretty special. So I know he's here with us today. My sister Linda and her husband John Tamman, who's a retired submarine flag officer, now serving as continuing to serve as a civilian senior executive as a director of OPNAV N97, the office responsible for submarine force capabilities and resourcing. John, with respect to Columbia, you're going to be on speed dial too. In addition to all these individuals, there's just a host of former shipmates, current teammates, family from every aspect of my life growing up around, and they come from around the country. I'm thankful and humbled by your presence. Now I'd like to speak directly to our STRATCOM team and our component commanders here today from the Air Force, Navy, and Army. The incredibly successful professionals that have the watch day in and day out, the folks that carry out the legacy of Strategic Air Command and underpin our nation's security strategy. From the establishment of Strategic Air Command in 1946 to the global warfighting command that is STRATCOM today, this team has continuously adapted to meet evolving challenges in the strategic environment. Today, if I were to put it in just a sentence, our challenge, and these are, consistent with the Joint Force strategic challenge, our challenge is to deter great power conflict and to be prepared to prevail in global, protracted, simultaneously fight against potential adversaries that are increasingly aligned. That is the complexity that exists in our strategic environment today. And we must do so, we must deter in a tech-saturated operational environment, in that environment of tomorrow. The battlefield is being reshaped by rapid advancements in technology, and the character of warfare is changing. From unmanned and autonomous capabilities to innovative tools that manipulate the information environment, engineering is becoming possible at far smaller scales, and computing power it continues to become exponentially cheaper. The emergence of big data has enabled artificial intelligence to achieve startling breakthroughs. from mastering games like Jeopardy and Go to driving cars and diagnosing cancer. Complex problems with massive data sets that would have taken tens of thousands of years to solve with 1950s technology now take minutes and in some cases seconds. We've gone from vacuum tubes to transistors to silicon. 60 years ago, you know how many transistors we could fit on a microchip? 4. Today we can fit billions onto that same size silicon chip. It's important for this command to understand the implication of these developments so we can leverage data advantage for decision advantage for warfighting advantage together with the joint force. While we may not be able to predict the next revolution in military affairs, one thing is certain: we will be challenged, and consistent with this command's 79-year history, we will be ready. As I assume command, the #1 priority remains the same: strategic deterrence. That deterrence is much broader than the nuclear portfolio, encompassing all elements of national power. For the joint force, it encompasses all of our military capabilities, kinetic, non-kinetic, in coordination with the intelligence community and the interagency to deliver decisive effects from the seabed to cislunar space. At its core, this command exists as the ultimate insurance policy to ensure our adversaries say, not today. During my confirmation hearing, Senator Tom Cotton made the case that we use our nuclear weapons every single day, and I emphatically agree. At STRATCOM, the strategic capabilities provided by each leg of the triad, coupled with assured nuclear command and control, underpins everything the department does in defense of our nation and American interests abroad, while assuring our allies. Although we haven't detonated a nuclear weapon in combat for 80 years, their very existence at high readiness levels deters major conflict and backs up every Department of War operation. Peace is our profession, but that peace is achieved through the strength, readiness, and credibility of our strategic capabilities. As we modernize all legs in the command and control of the nuclear triad, we will continue to ensure the credibility of deterrence for decades to come and continue to outpace the threat. During the current once every 70-year period of modernization, there can be no doubt in any potential adversary's mind, today is not the day. I am confident STRATCOM will continue to serve as that ultimate insurance policy. My confidence doesn't come solely from technical capabilities or strategic capabilities. My confidence comes from the professionals standing in this room. From the airman in the missile silo, the B-52 pilot flying in formation with our allies, from the sailor turning the wrench in Kings Bay to rig an SSBN for dive operations, or the soldier transforming the campaign plan into an operational order, or the Guardian delivering real-time missile threat intelligence. Whether it's the Marine seamlessly integrating global capabilities into regional expeditionary forces, or the civilian subject matter expert that understands capability gaps and identifies requirements to fill those gaps. Everyone plays a key role in our mission. These war fighters are the backbone of our capabilities, and they always will be. They are the reason our deterrence is credible, our allies are assured, and our adversaries are on notice. Once again, I'm incredibly honored and humbled to be entrusted with the responsibility of commanding such an extraordinary organization with such a rich and deep history. Command Sergeant Major Nauman and I will give everything we have to serve this command, partnering with the Joint Force team to preserve decision space and provide a wide range of options to deter great power conflict and deliver peace through strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Carell. Mrs. Samantha Carell is receiving a bouquet of yellow rosebuds. Yellow is the color of new beginning and symbolizes her arrival as the new First Lady of United States Strategic Command. In time, Mrs. Carell's rosebuds will blossom, as will her relationship with our soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, guardians, civilians, and their families. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for a medley of service songs. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain in place for the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, there will be a short break before we begin forming the receiving line. We invite you to join us in the West Wing for the reception recognizing Admiral and Mrs. Carell. An announcement will be made when it is time to begin forming the receiving line. The men and women of United States Strategic Command wish General and Mrs. Cotton success and Godspeed. On behalf of Admiral and Mrs. Carell and General and Mrs. Cotton, thank you for attending and for your participation in today's ceremony.